Nako, eto na naman po tayo ngayon. Usapang business at ako po si Butch Bartolome. Kamusta po lahat ang mga ating mga nanonood na kaibigan, at ang aking kasama po ay si Kernan Motomuol live from Cebu. Kamusta,
Hello,
Kernan?
hello. Hello, everybody. And hello from Cebu. It's a beautiful day, night, anywhere you are in the world.
Alam mo ngayon, Kernan, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon ibang usapan to The business of giving, di ba? So, ang ating kasama ngayon ay no less than the founder of Leather Collection, Mr. Federico Sevilla Jr. or otherwise known as Mr. Boy. Hi, how are you? Kamusta po?
Yun.
Hi, Boy. Medyo nag-freeze ata siya.
Hello, boy.
Yes.
Yan. How are you? You are already
It's
on
okay.
live. Live na tayo ngayon. So, tell us, ano ba itong business of giving? Yan. Pwede bang paki-explain sa atin at si Mr. Federico ay ang kilalang founder ng Leather Collection, no?
The famous
Pag
Leather
hindi nyo
Collection.
kilala ang Leather Collection, you probably were not born yesterday. Okay, so yun. So, Papa, how did you ever start the business ba? You have a presentation that you want to use, Boy? Yeah. Boy, you can use a presentation.
Boy, can you hear Butch?
I cannot hear Butch.
I cannot hear.
You may need to refresh. Refresh ka,
tayo.
Butch.
Take two.
It's okay. We'll just
siguro audio and video settings, updating. Boy,
nag-update ka? Hindi, refresh mo. Refresh mo lang yung tab. Yan, it's okay.
Yan, can you hear me? Hindi pa rin.
Refresh mo yung click mo yung refresh sa tab. Yan. Technical, it's normal. Kaya ayaw namin ng live, boy
Oo, marami nagiging problema nga.
Yan, let's hear from
Boy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud na. Okay. So, end session muna tayo. End session.
No need. We can proceed. I'll just edit it.
Okay na. Re-record na tayo. Sige.
Yeah,
Okay.
before anything else, Sir Butch, I'll show you something. Ito, boy, I have a leather collection wallet, So I kept this for quite some time. So
Thank you.
I love the wallet.
Yeah, and
embossed with the leather collection.
Gagawan
logo.
ko siya ng merong usapang business.
Uy, nako, maganda ito. Pwede nating giveaway yan sa mga manonood, di ba?
Pwede naman. We're in the business of giving.
Oo nga, the business of giving. Na-intriga ako doon sa title, Kernan, The Business of Giving. Ano nga ba talaga ito? Ayan.
Pakinggan natin kay Boy.
Unang-una, papasalamat. I'd like to thank the Usapang Business Group, for this very, very worthwhile and very close to my heart type of show. Primarily because this allows a lot of would-be entrepreneurs to be able to get into business. Because I believe that the startup businesses will comprise always the majority of the businesses that we have, especially for countries like the Philippines or maybe some other countries. And the backbone, I believe, of a good economy is a strong, small and medium-sized enterprises. And they start somewhere. So, without further ado, I think we need to start from the beginning.
Okay.
How did I start? Okay?
Yes.
Now, I'm not
Yeah,
a spring
exciting.
chicken anymore. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And I have been, I'm 75 years old. I've been in business for quite some time. And this, I know, will be my last business. I don't intend to get any more into other ventures. I have been into so many ventures, from uh, being a country rep of a multinational company to uh, doing a lot of tie-ups with businesses abroad. And I still saw that there's nothing like being an entrep that employs. This is the beginning of the, the giving. When you employ, as in manufacturing, my highest employment that I have provided, I employed uh, about 130 people. And I believe those are 130 families, not just individuals. And every time we would have our Christmas gathering, it warms my heart to see that the family of the leather collection, ang tawag namin doon, magkakabalikat kami. In short, we carry the burden together. And with that, we attain whatever success, that is available to us. That's something you cannot mandate, not because you work hard, you'll be successful, you know. There are times when you need to be able to weather the, the downturns brought about by the economy, just like the pandemic. The pandemic does not spare anyone, especially does not spare the small and medium-sized businesses. This is a tough challenge for us. So allow me to present to you a little uh, of my guide, and to allow me to be able to be guided much better in making my presentation to you. Um, why the business of giving? Basically starts with a corporate gift token that need to leave a lasting impression. This leave a lasting impression has guided us since 1971. And I designed the logo, that swirl that you see in the green, including the typography of the leather collection with the leave a lasting impression, which my wife calls Lali. Now, this is for us a very important guiding principle. We have been guided always to leave a lasting impression, and I think you will understand what you mean by leave a lasting impression. And so in 1991, when we started, there was another company that I had, which was a design house. And I'm a graphic designer at heart, although I'm a chemical engineer and chemical chemist by studying. I went to UST, and that has been my school days. However, designing has been something that was very, very close to me. I designed logos, and these logos you still see up to now. And one of those that I put a lot of effort is designing our logo. This is our very first brochure. Also, the only product that we had in 1991. Uh, in 1991, we launched a single product brand of organizers. I worked with the Asian Institute of Management in order to design the contents that would allow people to organize their lives. At that time, there was no smartphone, and of course, everything that went with it. I was challenged in 1991 to design and manufacture travel goods in leather by no less than Citibank. How did that start? You know, I went to Citibank And I was so, campante, as you would say. And I told them that, you give Christmas baskets, but by the end of December, they're flush, right? Because they're gone. However, you'd like to leave a lasting impression with a leather bound organizer with your logo in it that will last a whole year or even more than 1 year because the leather does not, it ages well. And the refills were available at Bookmark. Citibank, however, challenged us, and that's not what they needed. Okay? Although, remember that I got started with Citibank Philippines because my client was already the Saudi American bank, which is Citibank in Saudi Arabia, and they ordered this very same organizer from us. Well, the long short of it is after a couple of years, we belong to the top 1,000 taxpayers. I'm not too sure that was something that I'm proud of now. The Saudi American Bank, also known as the Citibank in Saudi, was my Singaporean network. And, networks are very important. If you wanted to go into business, network is the one that will propel you. Just like my network with Kernan and Boots. It's very, very critical. But however, we got our first challenge. The challenge was to create a genuine travel leather goods that evoke an Italian flair. If you would remember 30 years ago, if you traveled holding a leather bag, man, you're somebody. And remember also that the more battered it looked, the more it gained character. So hungry for business, I accepted the challenge and flew to Hong Kong. Right upon arrival in Hong Kong, Mount Pinatubo erupted. And I was stuck there. I was stuck there copying from the window displays, what would be ideal for Citibank. So that's history. At the end of the day, we closed the deal. My very first contract with them in 1971 was a total of 12 million pesos. At that time, that was a lot. Even now, it would have been a lot. But as I have looked through life over these past 30 years, success and failures, they are two sides of the same coin. We should not be too proud when we are successful, nor should we be ashamed when we fail. And one of my early successes was the export breakthrough. We had stores in Singapore. We were tied up with the distributor of Samsonite. So wherever Samsonite was, beside it, equal space was the leather collection. We even had national advertising in Singapore and a repair center to guarantee that should you have any problems with the leather goods, it will be repaired free of charge. Germany was also a very successful story because we were able to top a uh, big group of mom and pop operations. These mom and pop operations sold leather goods. They bought through a cooperative 4 times a year, and they were buying from me. Also in Japan, we were able to enter early. However, when the cheap China products came, and then the Asian financial crisis, and of course, other types of crises that made it difficult for my client to be able to give luxury leather goods, we experienced failure. Pivot is synonymous to flexibility in crisis. Uh, One needs to have this backup plan. So one of the things that I did was to retreat, to file for temporary closure because there was no business anyway. The second was to adopt a generous compensation scheme of profit share with my people. And I told them, together we have risen, together if we fail, we will fail. But because you are there, there is no way for us but to stay afloat. So we launch and push online sales with the help of tech support. And this has been for us a new learning. Okay, we've never been into something like this where people actually buy online. The very first, as I was mentioned earlier, the very first website that I have was an inquiry website, which we launched in 1971. The other one that is ingrid our capability to stay afloat is we have to push our available raw materials, of which we have over 10 million pesos worth, on top of the 7 million pesos worth of our what you would call off the shelf or gifts to go, ready to buy goods. The other one is we have to look for other markets, and we focus on the private label brands. We were able to help launch uh, a London-based private label, and they're the ones that are keeping us alive now. In fact, right now, we are processing a relatively generous order from them. The other one is we have very successfully tied up by creating and designing and manufacturing private label brands who sell basically online in the Philippines. And of course, you have to think of something else. And we started thinking of launching a new line of products called S plus S. The S plus S means my other partner, Season, and I'm the Sevilla. It's a brand of protective personal apparel and also masks. Pretty soon I'll be sending you guys a mask that I hope you will wear. Uh, this is basically online marketing. You would see it in our website. You know, by budget, we have done it so that it's very easy to select out of our luxury brands. But basically, our focus is corporate because I believe that the corporate is the one that will wipe out our stocks and give us the needed capital that we need to really get going again. We have created some videos online, which is, I believe, is very important. You know, if you do not have a video online, it's not good. The other one is that you have to be able to create a chat box so that they feel they're interacting with you and be able to reply very fast. You see, when we launched the RX Fab, it's a triple layer protection of mask. And this is water repellent. That means it is what you would say it is droplet repellent. As you know, COVID is transmitted through droplets. And this is what's very important is nano filter. And we are using our local abaca. So this is the interlayer. And not only that, it is ergonomic, easy to fit, with ample breathing volume, and reusable through gentle washing. Okay? Up to 50 times. We're pushing the website right now through the Facebook, Instagram, email, and follow-up calls. But of course, we are learning. But we need to be able to learn fast. There are certain things that are very important that I have realized early on in giving. You know, whether you're into business giving or whatever types of giving, you have to give to others too. And we have chosen our recipients, and these are the indigenous people. So I have traveled to the Bagobo tribe in the foothills of Mount Apo, taught them how to standardize their weaving system, giving it color that is acceptable to the foreign market, tied up with the great women. And all of this has somehow given a push as far as not only the image of the Philippines, but more importantly, the image of the indigenous people of the Philippines who have been doing these weaves using abaca for thousands of years. I learned about these Kuyunon women weavers because of Ayala Foundation. They approached me and said, can we do anything that is like leather straps using their woven buri? Okay. I told them, buri will always be buri. Just like bayong will always be a bayong. No matter what you do with it, you can put the most expensive handles in it, it will still be perceived as a bayong. And a bayong is cheap. And where will the Kuyunons get the improvement of their livelihood? So with that, I taught them how to weave using leather, hand weaving. We initially started in an abandoned chapel in Sibaltan. Subsequently, they were able to build their own. And this hand-woven leather is actually the product that we have in London, UK. So you would see that sorry.
Yeah, you can stop the share.
Yes,
Boy. Yeah.
I'm a little bit lost right now. So
Okay. You can just stop the sharing. There's a
okay,
click there.
okay.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Is it too long?
Oh, it's inspiring.
Thank you.
You know what was think. This is one example, Kernan, of an entrepreneur whose purpose is giving or sharing. No, and that's the reason, I guess. Kumbaga sinasabi natin pinagpapala, di ba? Yung nakikita mo. No, like for example, I'm just curious, boy, why leather? I mean,
Okay.
there's so many choices, no? I mean, you
Yeah.
could have done it in others, but why focus on leather?
Okay. When I started that organizer, I told myself all of the organizers available from China were made of synthetic materials. And alam mo, I was very proud. I'm a proud man in the sense na gusto ko medyo social. Okay, so I said, I'm going to develop one made of leather. But I don't know anything about leather. Honestly, nothing at all, nada. But I have friends, and one of these friend of mine is a master leather craftsman from Offenbach in Germany. And he has married a Filipino friend of mine, and I told him, Kurt, let's do a team. Let's make leather goods. Okay, so that was the beginning. And I didn't know it was going to fly. We were a single item product, but we were very proud of it. Do you know that our item was launched in Taipei during the AIM reunion with no less than Stan Shi as the guest speaker because he's an alumnus of AIM. So, it gave us a lot of this pride. But I came out also, even at that time, I came out one version that used leather and tinalak. You're
Mm.
familiar with tinalak, which is the
Well,
abaca woven, abaca by
uh-huh.
the indigenous people, way back then, 30 years ago. And so this is something that is really in me. I love wood. I love leather. You know, I love brass, but I don't love gold. I don't know why.
No, but come to think of it, there is really a purpose, for leather because leather lasts. Sabi mo nga, it's a
Yes.
living, yung lasting
Yeah.
impression.
Yes,
'Di ba?
yes,
Yung bang the older the leather, the real leather I'm saying,
yes,
the real leather lasts longer.
yes,
Unlike the synthetic leather like some shoes, you store it later on because of the humidity, nagbabalat-balat, I mean that's so
that's
bad,
true.
no?
That's true.
But
You know,
oh,
because I'm a chemist and a chemical engineer, in the first year, I really devoted in self-study. I
mhm.
traveled. I traveled. I had a little bit of means then, so I traveled. I checked on where leather was made, how they were made. Went to Italy, all of that. And I fell in love with it. I met one Italian who told me, leather. There are different kinds of leather, but an Italian leather is a leather that has been romanced. Ni
Uh-huh.
romanza, ni romanza. That
Oh,
means
that's unique.
according to him, you have to love it, because it will give you a certain touch, a certain feel, and a certain look, which nobody can copy. For them, that is the romancing the leather, and that caught on in me. That caught on in me, and I really, I have leather goods that I have been using since that time. That's a long
Yeah,
time ago, 30 years.
it's true. No, but even then, for example, it will last even probably a hand me down, di ba?
Yes, that's
Like
true.
for example, if you have a bag, like for example the bag or the or even cell phones, like I've seen people who has leather casing,
Yes.
and really fantastic, it gives that kind of elegance, di
Mhm.
ba, yung bang wow, you cannot buy this, para bang. So I think that's, but the name that you chose is really leather collection, or was it really there were different names that you chose?
Well, I chose that name. I'm a generic guy. You know what I mean? And generic in the sense that if we're into leather, we have to say we're into leather, okay? And if it looks like leather, it must be leather. I don't like faux leather that looks like leather but is not leather. I hate that. So for me, it's very important that if it is leather, looks like leather, smells like leather, and is leather. That's
Totoo
why I
yan,
said
totoo yan.
the leather collection.
Oo. Pero
Pinakatawanan.
maganda yung ginawa mo, boy, because you also use the mask, the SOS, no? Yung,
Yes.
maganda yun. I mean, the innovativeness, no? Na ginawa niya, no? Like, using what? The leather and combining local materials.
Actually, Bush, the story of the mask, SOS, is actually there is a story behind it. When we had the COVID, if you will remember, we didn't have protective apparel available for our frontline workers.
Hmm.
And I launched a project called the PPE Bayanihan Project. You can check it out. And we raised donations and of all sorts and had them made by women, countryside women sewers who were sewing them at home when nobody could get out of the house. And we had to get special permits from the military so that we can transport raw materials to them. Anyway, we made this project, PPE Bayanihan project, and we were able to, I think, help save a lot of lives. When there were no PPEs available. So when the pandemic somehow allowed already the influx of PPEs to the hospitals due to importation, what I did was I told my partner here. She's not really my partner. We are like partners in crime. You know what I mean? I told her, Michelle, she's a designer from London, lives in Ayala, Alabang. So she doesn't need any of this. She just needs meaning. You know, when you have a lot of things, you still don't have meaning in your life. You know, meaning in one's life comes with giving, you know, and the meaning of what you're going to give. So I told her, why don't we come up with a mask? Okay. Our first purpose was to donate to PGH, donate to these public hospitals. But I said, I don't want to give any mask that is just any mask. Okay. So I teamed up with a fabric textile manufacturer based inside the semiconductor industries because their business is supplying anti-static fabric for the semiconductor industry. I said, if you can make some anti-static, maybe you can make it also droplet repellent. That's a challenge. So she started working on it. It took us almost a year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but we did it. Now, our RX fab is droplet repellent. And then I researched on the abaca because a friend of mine was into abaca in Mindanao and said that the abaca is nano filter. That means,
Oh.
yeah. So we use that as the interlayer. So you have a double layer of fab and an interlayer of a nano filter, which is abaca. So it gave us some kind of story to tell. And at the end of the day, you know, when you want to sell anything, you know, or you want to give anything, there has to be a story in it.
True.
And we have made a number of masks already with the name of the company, the foundation, name it, you know, even name of a hospital, you know. And now we are going to come up with something that has even more meaning, you know, and we would like everyone to be able to get it. So just watch out for it.
Wow, fantastic. You know, I'm really spellbound eh. Parang wala akong matanong,
Galing,
you know,
galing.
kasi here is somebody who is a graphics designer by heart, a chemist by profession, and yet in early years wala pang uso mga Canva nung araw eh, no? I mean, even using the logo, that must be a tough challenge that you're doing before, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
now, para ba ngayon, Karner, ang daling gumawa ng logo kasi nandiyan si Canva, nandiyan si ano. But where do you see your business now going? Is this is a family business, I assume?
No, this is just me and my wife. And
Ah,
then none of my children uh, is interested. There is one who is an American already now, who is enjoying her life. She's 50 years old, enjoying her life in Maui, in Hawaii.
mhm.
Another one who is a fashion designer and used to work with Hollywood, but quit that rough and tumble business of working in Hollywood, and now is in Barcelona making handmade shoes. That's the closest, okay? Making
Uh-huh.
handmade shoes. She's been featured in Vogue and a lot of this high end type of fashion. And then I have a son who is like Kernan. He's into but more in security. He works with he's based in Australia right now. He got his master's degree also in University of New South Wales in Melbourne, in Sydney. And then I have another son who is a professor, a tenured professor right now at the uh, Kyushu University, which is the Imperial University of Japan, and teaches philosophy. And then, of course, I have my last son, the one who stays with the Aita, you know, when he likes, and then wears the bahag when he's there with him. With the Aitas, you know. So that's the thing. So none of them would like to do it. So basically, I'm preparing my team in the end to own it, you know. So I'm preparing them for it, you know.
So there
Wow.
you want the legacy of leather collection to
Yes,
continue,
yes,
definitely.
yes.
Wow.
That is
And
more important for me than anything, you know. You
Correct.
know, the legacy of the leather collection is something that will live on beyond my life.
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
Banya, yeah,
yeah.
Kiernan.
Yung alam mo, yung brand, it's really a strong brand. Imagine, Sir Butcha, when I was, kumbaga, just came out from college and started working, I was, uh, kumbaga, invited to go to a seminar by the European Chamber of Commerce to do like the seminar called Strategic Account Management. And with that, in that seminar, I was with boys employees, yung mga team niya, and sabi ko, wow, they're very professional. And I was actually came out from college at the time, and sabi ko, naalala ko talaga yung name, leather collection, and they were very, kumbaga, well versed on the product. And
The,
after
uh,
so many years, biruhin mo, tadhana, and I'm now sharing the stage with boy.
True, true.
Biruhin mo. But I'm so proud, no, having boy with us. And in terms of the product, it it if you are a business and you love your customers, it is imperative for you to give back something to them. At least, give a gift of leather. The leather will really last a long time. In fact, I still have one. That,
Hindi, tsaka I think
di
I
ba?
think basic
It's
yeah,
from boy.
basically you value your friendship, you value your client
Yeah,
by the way but the item you give. I mean, it can be anything, but if there is a heart in it, in that item, like leather. Ikaw ba tatapon mo yung leather? I mean, di
nako,
ba?
you
Hindi mo
don't, you
tatapon yun.
don't,
I mean,
and
I'm not going to throw that.
yeah,
Again, there was one time Philippine Airlines was giving out, I think your one of your cards, your leather, and
yes.
to the milers. I mean, my God, I mean, you feel so honored, and then you see their leather collection. Oh my God, Philippines. Para bang makes you proud, no? Makes really you're proud na, oy, Filipino pala yan. I'm sure a lot of people would not believe that Leather Collection is a Philippine-based company.
grabe, no?
Nagkaroon ba ng ganon? Meron bang, were you asked?
Do you
Uh,
know, I'm very proud to tell you that we've catered to a lot of airlines. Lufthansa was one of them.
mm,
Singapore Airlines was another one. And of course, Philippine Airlines. And British Airways too. We catered for them. And in terms of
Grabe, ah.
conferences, you know, one of the early conferences of Microsoft, their giveaway came from us.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, do you know that during the time of President Ramos, and there was the signing of how do you call that event that was held in Subic, that built
The
Subic,
APEC.
the
APEC.
APEC. Yes,
APEC. Yeah,
when the
yeah, yeah.
APEC was
Oh,
held
oh.
in the Philippines, those
Yes.
portfolios where they signed the
Wow.
documents, they were all made by
Oh,
me.
nga.
So my people feel this, you know, they see the name of Bill Clinton in it, they see the name of, you know, all of these important people. They know that they are a part of it, they are giving a part of themselves to those things that they make. That's why they make them well.
Yeah, fantastic. But aren't you faced with a shortage of leather? Like, for example, in the Philippines, I know that in Mekawayan used to be the tannery. Uh, so you do have to import leather yourself too, right?
No, okay. Before, I used to import my leather 100%.
Oo.
I told myself, if this is going to be the value added of my company, it has to be Philippine made. So
Correct.
I worked with the UK government to be able to get a grant, and we got it. We got a grant from UK in order to be able to uplift the standard of our tanner, tie-up tanner, which is Valenzuela Tannery.
Yes.
And they were able to upgrade their standard. Do you know they're exporting where? Guess
Mm.
where? To
Where?
Italy.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? But you have to really work hard. I for several years I had a German consultant in my company who taught us, but I couldn't afford it. But I really worked to be able to get that. So, and I got that through a grant from the German government. So things like this, I mean, this is something I'd like to impart to our listeners. Don't think you know everything. Assume that you know nothing, but you have neighbors, you have friends, you have other countries who are willing to help us. And you just need to knock on their doors.
True.
Present your case, and you don't lose anything.
At saka I think it's self-confidence, boy, because like for example, you made that daring dash with Citibank, which they don't really need that planner, but you had to convince them, di ba? Instead of
Mm.
sending fruit baskets, hamper baskets, that's nothing at the end of December. Tama 'yun, di ba? But lasting impression na wow, merong tatak ng Citibank. At saka madali naman yung refill eh, 'di ba? Ang refill can be bought.
Mm.
But what is important is the cover, 'di ba?
Yes, yes.
So so you really design the products or you have a designing team or what?
I used to design everything until I started getting younger people, to help me design. But what I do is like you would call it. I don't want to call it subcontracting because it's not subcontracting. I ask them, what do you think is the value of your design? Okay, if I'm going to use it, and then they dictate the price. And that was how we did it with Avon, the Avon President's Circle, which was not being sold by Avon but was given away by Avon's president. We designed that for a long number of years, maybe 6 years, and this was I would to give it a new look. It cannot be naman all you, di ba? Much as
Mm.
I like to design,
Yeah.
nakakasawa. Ako mismo nagsasawa doon sa ginagawa ko.
Oo. Siguro maganda niyan, boy, meron kang isang parang museum of all your giveaways, like samples. I mean, from dating back when you started. Because you
Yeah,
know why? Because this is a living legend eh.
yeah.
Uh, you're not bragging, but you're saying, here is the proof. Like for example, the first thing that you did with Citibank, the things that you did with different airlines, a sample of what you did for APEC.
Hmm.
It's a museum of sorts, and na something that even your team will be proud of, di ba?
Yeah.
Para bang
Yeah.
just
During our 25th anniversary, we held it at AIM. And they were very, very more than happy to have us hold it there. We had a mass, we had cocktails, we had an exhibit there. And no less than the president of the AIM was with us. And what we were asking all of our previous clients was if they can bring one item, from that time. And this was the display. It was really so heartwarming, to see all of our previous clients, that some of them have been absorbed by another company already, but they're carrying it. They have these things. Of course, we exhibited the Citibank line. After all, it was the one that gave us really a big boost.
fantastic ah. Alam mo, Kernan, ito yung type ng entrepreneur na
Yeah.
low-key na ang lakas ng dating.
Let's
Di
Kakaiba.
get
ba? Yung bang very humble and yet the product speaks. Di ba? Almost everywhere. I won't be surprised if even US presidents, aside from Bill Clinton, would have Would that have a product, no? Or
I'm sure,
even
baka nga
probably,
eh.
yeah, or even
Yeah,
probably the Pope, or
Mhm.
even other presidents of different countries, like because
I'm
sa
sure.
APEC nahawakan na nila, and they really
Correct.
kept it, I'm sure, di ba?
And no, 'di ba, yung international airlines, 'di ba?
Oh yeah, 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 right, right.
I'm
But
sure.
tell me, boy, now with these challenging times, what would be your takeaway for entrepreneurs who are faced with a challenge, who are faced with maintaining that quality, sustaining? What would be your takeaway?
Well, my takeaway on that one, Butch, is that the entrep should have a heart, and it is beyond the bottom line. Because if you look at the bottom line and you see it bleeding all red, it's easy to say let's close, right?
Yeah,
But you have to go beyond that, and you have to see, hey, let's assess the whole situation. Let's work this out with all of these people that make your company, And what I did was simply that, and I told them, okay, how can we best handle this issue? Okay, and you know, like during our biggest business is the peak season. Peak season gives us approximately about 30 million pesos worth of business. That is what you'd call the bear months. When you start hearing the Christmas carols, everybody's happy. We are also playing the Christmas carols and we put out all of our Christmas displays. But that didn't happen during the pandemic.
yeah,
And but if you have your people with you and you work this out, you study what is left, you know, ano pa ba ang assets natin? Ano pa ba ang kaya nating gawin, 'di ba? Sino pa ba ang pwede natin matulungan, 'di ba? Sa kanilang pangangailangan ngayon pagdating sa gift giving, 'di ba? I think that is where the line. And then of course we have to pivot. Whether you like it or not, you have to have a pivot strategy. Without a pivot strategy, it's very difficult, really. And you cannot expect your people to have that pivot strategy. From it has to come from the owner, it has to come from what you'd call it, the boss.
yeah.
Kaya ka boss eh, di ba? Ba't mo tatawagin at tinatawag ka ng mga tao mo, boss, di ba? Pagkatapos ikaw yung unang magpapahirap sa kanila. I mean, that's a shame.
Yeah, true, true. So, nakakaano kasi dahil maraming mga entrepreneurs na wanted to throw in the towel because of this changing or the challenges, both here and abroad. But there are people naman who really have to condition themselves like a fighter
Mm.
and bouncing back in the ring. Yung bang I may have left the ring, but I'm not going back. I'm going back to the ring again. Para bang ganon, no? Yung iba naman talaga nag-hibernate na. Yung hibernate, talaga nagbabago na ng negosyo, hindi ba, Kernan? Para bang, para bang gusto nila ibenta. But sabi ko nga, I always believe that opportunity is only given once eh.
Yes.
You're given an opportunity once and don't mess it up. I mean, the talents that you are given by God is actually what you have to use. Because at the end of the day, when your time is up, you'll be asked, "Oh boy, what have you done with the talent that I gave you? Ano nang ginawa mo?" Di ba? Yung bang you made use of the leather. Yeah, you became the leather guru. Di ba? Para bang I guess, but you never went to other leather bags or shoes or
Basically, the only two things that I didn't go into, which is basically making shoes and making garments, because they require very different type of retrofitting in terms of your equipment. My equipment basically can make bags. We make,
Mhm.
from briefcases, travel travel suitcases to ladies' bags, all the way to the small keychain, the key
Yeah, yeah.
holder, okay, the key fob. And so basically, that's where we are. But now, what we're trying to look at basically is uh, where are the skills? Because if the skills are there, then you can do with whatever raw materials you have. And the skills are with the people. They're not with the boss. The boss leads, but it's the workers, the craftsmen. I then never call them workers. I call them craftsmen because, I really take my hat off how they put their heart and soul into what they're doing. These are the craftsmen.
Yeah, artisan, parang sa Italy, di ba? You see people
Yes,
working with
yes.
leather, ano yun, a leather apron on their lap, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. So, Kiernan, ikaw, ako talagang saludo ko kay Mr. Boy for bringing in the flag, waving the flag of the Philippines and being a very good entrepreneur, especially of giving. Ikaw, anong takeaway mo dito, Kiernan?
Yeah. Well, for me, just take away, no. Final words is um, the customers will feel they are special when you give something to them. Of course, bottom line. And if I would suggest, no, it's great to give away something, and it you feel good. And if you need something to give away, just visit leathercollection.ph. So
Thank you.
everybody go there, and then you just check out what Boy has, and that's it, guys. You can check it out. Final word, Sir Boots, so that you can
Well,
end the
sa akin,
session.
really, I really appreciate
Thank
this time with the founder himself, kumbaga, speaking words of wisdom, di ba? Yan ang importante ngayon eh. Inspire, motivate, but giving the right direction rather than misleading, di ba? Yung mga ganon. And this is one of the things that we need nowadays. People like Boy who will give us that motivation to continue on, di ba? So, para siya yung GPS natin ng mga negosyante. So, really,
Yeah.
Boy, thank you very much for this opportunity. And guys, tell you, you think of leather collection. But when you think of leather collection, think of the man behind and his team. Every leather goods is produced with the heart. Di ba?
Thank you.
Yan. Ganda
Thank you.
niyan eh, no? So, congratulations. And again, God bless you so much and really continue on that legacy. Continue on the legacy, especially with the team. Ganon. So again, maraming salamat, Boy.
Maraming
And
salamat din.
I'm so happy to meet the man himself, no? Talagang so ngayon ano yan, punong-puno na naman tayo ng information nito. Paano ba Kiernan? Every Saturday, alam mo,
Oo nga.
sumasakit talaga ang ulo namin kasi alam mo, Boy, sa sobrang information overload, but may hangover kami sa Sunday. Kasi nga, ina-absorb namin yung mga lessons eh. No? Parang nakakakilig. Di ba, Kernan? Ganon.
Yeah. Pero Boots, ito pangako ko sa iyo, 'di ba? Yung show mo naman weekly lang di ba?
Opo.
Oo. Ngayon, yung ating usapang business na leather goods na giveaway ninyo sa inyong mga speaker, 'di ba?
Nako.
Maasahan niyo yan sa akin. Yan ang contribution ko sa inyo. Dahil kasi yung pinangangatawanan ninyo, napakalaki na. Napakalaking tulong nan para sa mga tinatawag dating aspiring entrepreneurs, di ba?
Oo, nakaka-5 buwan na kami sa ginagawa namin ito. Dati usapang usapang joke-joke. To a point na naging habit na dahil ang dami nagtatanong. Minsan nawala lang kami sa isang episode ang dami nagtanong kay Kernan, ano nangyari sa inyo? So yon. Yan ang kumbaga not everything is always money, Networking,
Yes,
collaboration,
yes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and then guesting the right the right guest, no, the right speakers. Yan ang importante. Again, maraming salamat at
Maraming salamat.
Maraming
at
salamat,
yung
boy.
mga nanonood, I'm sure naka-pick up na naman kayo. But make sure, Usapang Business every week. At nako, hintayin nyo yung baka yung giveaway. Baka maraming dumami ang magiging magpapaimbita as speaker dito. Kasi
Ay, nako.
magiging
Yan maganda.
leather collection and then limited edition pa.
Oo.
Diba? Nako,
At merong tatak usapang business.
Nako, ang laking utang na loob natin ito. Gagawin nating honorary host si Boy. Siguro one of these days we'll also invite you to become one of our co-hosts, di ba, Kernan? Why not? Di ba? Every day is a learning.
Yes.
So again, Kernan, maraming salamat and stay well in Cebu.
See you guys.
And dito naman sa Manila, ganito pa rin. At I guess si Boy ay nandito rin sa NCR. And again,
Yes.
God bless us all. Keep safe, guys. At eto na naman po ang Usapang Business, Butch Bartolome with Kernan and our very, very special guest, Boy, the founder of Leather Collection. Bye-bye. Thank you.